Roadster calling Cybertruck.
Copy that.
Earth is being invaded by an unknown force with the time machine. Our future is in danger. Go find the special task force. Here's the profile. I will pick up the team superstar. See you then.
Welcome back, everybody. If you're new, my name's Nicholas, and this is Investing Against the Grain. Now, normally when I make these videos, I have a plan, okay? I figure out what I want to cover, what order I want to cover it in, and I lay it all out nice storyboard style. But this morning, I was sitting on my couch, right over there, watching my TV, right over there, with my fiance, right up there, and we came across this report of Argo AI and Ford coming together to release robo-taxis in Miami this year. I nearly spit my coffee out. Listen, I had planned to show some cool stuff today, and I still will. So I was going to show you the new Player Unknown Battlegrounds trailer that takes all of Tesla, the Gigafactory, the Model Y, the Roadster, the Cybertruck, and interweaves it into the storyline, which I'm still going to show that. Stick to the end to watch that. But this story of Argo AI and Ford with their robo-taxi coming out in Miami completely threw everything off schedule. Okay, so before we do anything today, we are going to go ahead and go over this article, go over what's happening, and point out the hypocrisy that the OEMs, the media, and everybody has towards Tesla, and all these BS comments about them not being safe and not caring about the people who buy their vehicles. Okay, we're going to call them out, because if nobody else does, who will? It's going to take YouTube to make sure and keep people honest. So that's the first thing we're going to cover, and then we'll get into my normal routine of talking about what I had intended. And again, stick to the end to check out that trailer from Player Unknown Battlegrounds. Now, before we actually get into it, we have a goal to hit 75 subscribers by the end of this month. Okay, we are almost there. So if you enjoy this type of content, if you like trying to help fight off the FUD against Tesla, do us a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's get into it. Ford and Argo AI to launch self-driving cars with Lyft by the end of the year. Okay, so let's just read this before I give my initial reactions. Ford will launch an autonomous vehicle fleet with Lyft and Argo AI by the end of the year, the companies announced Wednesday. Self-driving rides and safety drivers will begin this year in Miami. The company said they plan to expand to Austin, Texas in 2022 and roll out about 1,000 self-driving cars in multiple markets within 5 years. The partnership comes as ride-hailing companies Uber and Lyft ditch their own in-house systems instead look outside partners for self-driving technology. Lyft announced plans to sell to Toyota. We already know about that. Uber sold theirs off. We know about that. Each company brings the scale, knowledge, and capabilities in their area of expertise and is necessary to make autonomous ride-hailing a business reality. And that's from Lyft CEO. You can see here, part of the agreement, Lyft will receive 2.5% common equity of Argo AI, the Ford and Volkswagen-backed autonomous vehicle startup that's reportedly preparing to go public. Okay, so the rest of this is just pretty generic about autonomous driving. All right, so this is why it bothers me so much. We had nothing but FUD when it came to Tesla and FSD. It first started off with, it started a long time ago, but most recently it started off with the crash that happened in Texas where two drivers crashed and passed away in a Model S. And because there is no one in the driver's seat, they just assumed that this had something to do with Tesla's FSD, full self-driving. Now, later on, Tesla checked the logs, queried all the data. It turns out, one, they never had FSD, so that couldn't be it. And then for the advanced autopilot, they were able to prove that unless the vehicle can see lane markings, it cannot go ahead and engage for the autopilot. So there are a lot of things that just, disprove the fact that that had anything to do with Tesla's full self-driving, autopilot, or anything of the nature. Then Consumer Reports went on to, or as Stephen Mark Ryan likes to call it, Consumer Reports. Well, funny pun there. But they go on to prove how you could trick Tesla's FSD or their autopilot system using a weight on the steering wheel by clipping in the seatbelt, wiggling your weight out from the driver's seat into the passenger seat, and then you can go. So Consumer Reports, literally were giving a roadmap to people to, do things dangerously. Yeah, that's not really a smart move there, Consumer Report. Now, with that said, Tesla got a lot of lashback saying, oh, Ford and Cruise and all these other AI autonomous vehicle companies, they're using cameras to make sure that the driver's aware of what they're doing. And there's a lot of feedback towards Tesla because the way Teslas work is based off of a weight system. So as long as your hand is there on the steering wheel, right, it senses a certain amount of pressure and it allows the vehicle to know you are engaged. Whereas all these other companies only use a camera to make sure you're awake and paying attention. Now, with that said, Tesla now does have a camera that will, make sure that you're paying attention, doing what you're doing, but they also have the weighted steering wheel as well. So none of that has been reported. And it's funny how now that Tesla has more safety guards to make sure people aren't trying to trick the system and drive without paying attention than anyone else, all of a sudden there's no uproar for all these other companies. Well, they should have a weighted steering wheel as well, a weighted signal to make sure that people are paying attention. I mean, in my opinion, they should have it. Everybody should have it. Be honest, how many times have you been driving and you thought to yourself, oh, damn, did I stop for that stop sign? All right, if you're being honest with yourself, that's at least happened once to you. My point in saying this is that a camera looking at you to make sure you're paying attention is not the same thing as saying, hey, this person is actually engaged and they're not dozing off. Okay, this is where having a added on, kind of a bumper, thinking bowling here, bumper, in order to make sure that you're paying attention, which would be every so often you have to make sure you're applying pressure to the steering wheel, right? That just adds more safety to the system. But so Tesla has all of this now, and again, there's no lashback or feedback for anybody else, right? All of a sudden, oh, that's not an issue. Okay, we'll put that to the side. So then Tesla comes out with their FSD, beta version 9, I guess a week ago now, a little more a week ago. So they come out with that release, and immediately there's nothing but lashback how dangerous Tesla is, how they're using individuals as beta testers, and they're treating their customers as guinea pigs and all this FUD. Okay, meanwhile, here we go with a company like Argo AI, who is about to launch their robo-taxi, where they will essentially be doing the exact same thing Tesla's doing, where they have a safety driver monitoring the vehicle, driving it through these city streets, right? And the reason for this is really to get edge cases and to get more data. And so they're going to be doing this, and nobody's in an uproar for it. Meanwhile, keep in mind, with Tesla, it's individuals with their car understanding what they're doing and putting their own risk at hand, right? They know their risk tolerance. No one else is going to be affected by it. No one else is in the car, etc. These other companies, well, they're trying to take a beta product, they're trying to put it out there in the market, and they want to get individuals into the vehicle and treat it as a taxi. Yet nobody's saying anything about this. Nobody cares. Somehow it's more dangerous for Tesla to do it when they're having their beta testers, which is only 2,000 testers. Meanwhile, these other companies, even Waymo, are doing the same thing with actual passengers. Think about this. This is so biased that there is no reporting of this. It is incredible. In this article, they're hailing this as an amazing breakthrough, as an advance. We're getting closer to autonomous vehicles. Meanwhile, Tesla is just getting hammered left and right with FUD about how unsafe they are. Meanwhile, they are arguably taking the safest approach when it comes to autonomous vehicles, right? They have the most safeguards to make sure that people are paying attention. They have a small release where they're constantly monitoring how the drivers are managing the vehicles, and they're not using it as a robotaxi. They are not trying to capitalize on individuals who will be using a service that is not ready. Okay, this is purely a beta software that they're trying to release, a beta product that could harm and potentially kill individuals, and they're trying to monetize off that rather than making sure it's fully baked before they deploy it. So you tell me, who's taking the safer approach here? It's just, I really did not want to start this video off like this, but this is just complete hypocrisy all across the board. People praise Cruise, they praise Argo AI, they praise companies like Lyft and Ford and Uber for how advanced they are and all the stuff they're doing. Meanwhile, you know, the second they commercialize it and it's a beta product, nobody cares about it, right? Well, these are the legacy companies. I mean, they know what they're doing. Tesla doesn't know what they're doing. They're new. They're new into the industry. It's absolutely, I'm trying not to cuss on here, but it's just BS is what it is. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get into what I actually want to cover in this video. Okay, so before we get into the rumors and news from this week, I wanted to just let you guys know that I managed to pick up some more shares of Tesla. I bought about another 20 shares, excuse me. And if we look here at this chart, what you're gonna see is that I had set a buy order to hit about 624, and we see right here, you can kind of see I would call it a support. It's a little table right here, and it's between 21 and say 25. As you can see, I hover between these. So I went ahead and put in an order for to buy 20 shares at a price of 624, and sure enough, with this recent drop, it went ahead and it hit. So that was a very nice. Let me see if I can find a better chart to depict it. 3 months out. Let's see, 5 days. Okay, here we go. So this is where I was able to pick it up right about here. So I didn't get quite at the bottom, but I got to about 624. So it looks like it bottomed out at 622. So, you know, pretty good in my opinion. And I was able to pick 20 shares up and ride it back up. You know, hindsight's always 20/20, and you know, now I wish I would have bought even more, but you know, still pretty happy with that, you know, that purchase to add more to my long-term holdings. So here's the actual transaction that I made for this purchase. Okay, so here you can see my actual transaction. So it hit on July 19th. You can see, you know, some gains there already, but mainly, like I said, bought 20 shares, hit at 624. So, you know, it was a nice entry. I really think that anything below, you know, 630, 640 these days is a steal. So, you know, as things tend to come down, you know, I have these buy orders in just to trigger. I actually have another one set at 615. I have another one at 600. So yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to accumulate as much as I can over time. And I think that as, you know, we get these, you know, rare dips now, you know, even close to 600, even 500s, you know, those are moments that you really want to capitalize. Again, none of this is investment advice, just, you know, trying to show you guys what I'm doing. But yeah, okay, so let's get into some of these Tesla rumors. So the first bit of rumor I want to go over is a few tweets from Troy Teslike. So he said, I have heard that Tesla is planning to start production of Giga Texas with Cybertruck, not the Model Y. He then goes on to say, also, Cybertruck will have 4680 cells and structural battery pack with which will be built in Texas too. So with that said, I also, before we, you know, kind of dissect this, I want to look at another, you know, series of texts actually from Rob Maurer from Tesla Daily channel. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend. I watch Rob Maurer every single day. But he happened to have the same source that we have from Troy Teslike. So let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick, and then we'll analyze this a bit further. Okay, so here we have the text starts off with the source that Troy and Rob Mauer both have in common. And the information that starts off here for Rob Mauer is a text saying, it seems that all German brands have delivered cars to Tesla for Supercharger Access. VW, BMW, Mercedes, Audi, Porsche, etc. All cars are delivered to Tesla and prepped for Supercharger Access. Now, we'll go over this, well, we might as well cover it now. So Tesla tweeted last night that they will be opening up the superchargers to everybody. And then he was further asked whether or not this includes the United States or if it's every country versus Europe. And Elon did clarify that eventually it will be all of them, all countries. So this is, I think, actually very good news, big picture thinking. I know some people are going to be upset, hey, this is not fair. We already have long lines at the superchargers, but think about it. Think about this just for a second as a Tesla investor and even as a Tesla, owner. If everybody starts to sit, kind of give up and say, hey, Tesla, you guys are the best at making these. No one else can really compete, and people choose to go to Tesla stations over anyone else. And all of these auto manufacturers are saying, hey, okay, we're going to bow out. We're going to save our investments. We're not going to worry about buying our own or building out our own supercharging, network. Now Tesla potentially could have a monopoly all over the world with charging stations. This is something that's very key. And, they won't have a monopoly, but they might have the lion's share. And what this means is for any vehicle that's not a Tesla, they could potentially have a 5 or 10%, charge or price higher than if you owned a Tesla, which obviously would incentivize people to go and use Tesla or buy Teslas over any other vehicles. But either way, this could have a potential for a very large revenue machine for Tesla. And what that means is that they can take that revenue, dump it right back into the supercharging network and build more and expand a lot quicker. So I think, big picture thinking, this is a nice move. This is, as Stephen Mark Ryan from Solving the Money Problem, great channel too, by the way. If you haven't seen his stuff, highly recommend it. But he would call this a Trojan horse, right? So this is essentially them letting the horse into Troy at this point. No pun intended there with the Troy from the tweets. Okay, so I think we've covered that. Let's go on here. They mentioned here a VW e-Golf is fully charged in 15 minutes. I don't understand what this is about. I thought the e-Golf was canceled. I didn't think they make them anymore. Again, don't quote me on that. Keep me honest. Let me know below in the comments. But I thought those were gone. Okay, so here's some, more rumors. It looks like a deal to get Berlin running. The original plan was to have Berlin up and running in April 2021. It now seems that it will be December or maybe January. There's a lot of friction, legal action issues with employees that want to start working for Tesla but get sued, etc. Supercharger Access looks like the deal from Elon to get things going again. So it sounds like there's, a lot of, headwinds for Tesla with Berlin. Keep in mind, Germany is a country that works in a unique way. It's not like, many countries where you can choose to, leave one company and go to the next. There are windows of gap time that you have to have before you transition from one company to another. So, that kind of statute of limitation is, kind of hindering some talent, it seems like. So we'll see what happens with that. Either way, December, January, I think by this point we've all kind of, just baked in the fact that Berlin, at the earliest will start delivering vehicles in December. Either way, keep in mind, in the big scheme of things, this is not even going to register on the radar. Okay, like we need to move past just this mindset of when's it going to be open? Is it this month? Is it next month? Who cares? Who really cares? In the big scheme of things, by next year, it's going to be open. Okay, in 5 years from now, you're not going to care. You're just going to be anticipating the ramp up of the next factory that we don't even know about yet. So, let's not get too caught in the weeds of delays by a week or 2 weeks or a month. Okay, it's not that important in the big scheme of things. So next says 13,500 Model Ys will be imported for China this quarter. So that's very interesting. Not really sure what's going on there. And I mean, the way I'm reading this is that China is importing the Model Ys from Fremont. Again, I may be misunderstanding this, but that's how it reads to me. Model Y will be imported for China. Not sure why they would be importing vehicles this quarter. Maybe he meant exported, because I do believe China was set to start exporting Model Ys, and that makes a lot more sense. There is a known date when it will be announced that SC Access will be open for other brands. Oh, Supercharger. Okay. It will not be Norway alone. It will be Europe all at once. US, I don't know. Okay. At least, but not least, and last but not least, structural battery pack will be made in Texas. I think we all knew that. First Cybertruck will roll out the factory in October. So that's interesting news. He's setting a timeline for October as the date where they'll start production of the Cybertruck. And it says here, will roll out of the factory. Okay, first Cybertruck. The German brands might also buy the internal charger, Tesla, new models. You can share it. Please do not use my name. Okay, so let's take a step back here. So right here, this first Cybertruck will roll out of factory in October. If we go back and we take a look at what Troy Tesla was saying, he was saying that the Cybertruck will come out before the Model Y. So this is curious because I'm not sure how much I believe that, mainly because we've already seen castings of parts for the Model Y. We've seen front end and rear ends already out in Texas. Not sure what they were doing with them, if they're sending them to Fremont or not, but obviously those gigapress are already rolling. So I'd be a little surprised if that happens. But then again, you know, maybe this is a strategic thing. Maybe Tesla wants to get as many Cybertrucks out there. You know, just from a marketing perspective, it's smart to get them out there, get them in the hands of people, so you get all the oohs and ahs as people roll by or drive by, and they're like, what the hell is that thing? That's the future, right? I mean, it's going to be a showstopper no matter where you go. You think people turning their heads for McLarens, Lamborghinis is a big deal? People will be turning their heads for the Cybertruck. But it makes sense for them to try to get that out as soon as possible, to make sure that, you know, they have a nice strong presence before the Ford Lightning comes out. But again, it makes more sense to me that the Model Y would come out first. It seems like that's further along with the ramp of production to get those started. But we'll see. Okay, let's see. So then you have here, Rob Maurer tries to clarify. Thank you for the info. These look similar to the to what Troy is reporting. Are you the source for this report? I only asked if it were a separate source. It would obviously be a bit of confirmation. And then he goes, the source says, I also shared some info with Troy. Don't know if he has a second source. I doubt he does. You know, it's very clearly the same source. Okay, thanks for coming or for confirming. I'll check with him. Would be nice if you can get confirmation. And then, you know, he just goes on and says for sure and asks, what's your level of confidence on these, and do they vary at all, or would you say same level of confidence across the board? And he says same level. So in other words, you know, let's go back to the Troy Like right here. Okay, so here we can see with Troy Like, I have heard that Tesla is planning to start production at Giga, Texas with Cybertruck, not the Model Y. Again, I think he's just misinterpreting. Even Rob Maurer says that he believes this is just a certain interpretation of what the text said. And I agree with Rob. It just doesn't make sense. We're already seeing castings from the Model Y. And again, the Model Y is something they already know how to build. You know, they've done it multiple times. It's something that it's not as complicated as a new vehicle that they've never created in volume production. And as far as the Cybertruck, will have 4680 cells and structural battery pack, which will be built in Texas too. Remember this. So this is a rumor talking about the Cybertruck, the 4680. Keep that in mind, okay? Because as we go on with some of the news, not rumors, as we go on some of the news, this, you know, might become a little more solidified, if you will, about the 4680 batteries. So here's an article that came out by Electric on July 20th, and I'm going to tie this back to some of the rumors from Troy Tesla. So bear with me. So Tesla's semi-electric truck is finally about to go into production. Let me just clarify this for some people because I thought it was pretty funny. I was watching some Reddit comments saying, oh, Tesla's coming out with a semi-electric vehicle. This is a semi-truck that will be electric. I don't know why people got that confused, but I found it comical, so I figure I might as well address it in case there's people out there that think that Tesla's making a hybrid vehicle. They're not. It's all electric. There's no other way. Okay, so with that addressed, a lot of this is just kind of fluff of stuff we already know. The main information is down here. So let me just go ahead and highlight this. So now sources familiar with the matter told Electric that the drive axle production line is ready and the general assembly line is going through its final debugging before starting production. It is one of the last steps before starting production of the all-electric truck. Last summer, CEO Elon Musk told employees, okay, so anyways, the main gist of this is that Elon already told us that they're going to start off in Nevada making about 5 Teslas per week. Now, the biggest thing that was slowing this down wasn't so much the production. I mean, we can see here that the axle production line is near complete, so it's just a matter of debugging a few things. But the main thing that this tells us is that there must be very good progress with the 4680 battery, right? The battery that's going to take Tesla's cost of batteries down by 50%, right? I mean, talk about leaving everyone else in the dust. Coming out with this in 2021, where GM is talking about how they plan on getting to the same goal by 2025. Yeah, a little bit behind there, okay? So this plus the news from Troy Teslike about the 4680 paired with the Cybertruck. We know that the goal is for Austin to be making Model Ys with the 4680, right? This is starting to paint a picture that, it sounds like the 4680 batteries are testing very well and are becoming very viable. So this is big news. The 4680 battery is the future of Tesla, okay? The biggest difference between a ICE vehicle, an internal combustion engine vehicle, and a electric vehicle is essentially the price, okay? Electric vehicles are very expensive because of their batteries, whereas ICE vehicles are not that expensive. You can make them very, very cost effective. Now, with dropping the price by 50%, right, this opens the gate for Tesla to go ahead and make a vehicle like a Compact 2 or, whatever you want to call it, right? The idea is this next level down, a more cost-effective Tesla, right? If they do that, all of a sudden, I mean, we already know Tesla has more demand than what they know what to do with. Right now, they are essentially sold out for all of Q3. Okay, you're not going to get a delivery until October, November at this point. So if they can make a more cost-effective battery, which leads to a more cost-effective vehicle, right? At that point, the bottleneck for Tesla, as far as getting volume and mass productions, it's the gigafactories, right? They're going to need to start building a lot more gigafactories as soon as possible. And I imagine they're already looking at the next 2 sites. So anyways, this is great news. It'd be awesome to start seeing some semis out there. 5 per week. That's excellent, right? So maybe we could have, anywhere from 20 to 40, maybe a little more than that by the end of the year. It'd be amazing to see these out on the road. But, when I read this, the main thing I think to myself is 4680 battery. This is such a bullish sign. Last bit of news before we get into the video I promised you at the very end. This has to do with Tesla Powerwall and a virtual power plant. So Tesla is releasing a Tesla virtual power plant beta. You can sign up for this Thursday. I believe that's the 22nd. And the idea here is to help stabilize California's grid. We can see here some of the call outs, right? Stabilize California's grid. The extra capacity your Powerwall provides could help avoid or reduce blackouts in severe emergencies. This way, Powerwall can keep the lights on for both you and your community. So if you don't know, California tends to have a lot of blackouts and brownouts, rolling ones, of course, but this is a real issue. Obviously, the whole renewable energy, clean the grid mentality that Elon and Tesla and really much of the world has these days. Unite Tesla as a community. So potentially over 50,000 power walls. Okay, this would be one of the biggest, or this probably would be the biggest deployment of any type of virtual power plant ever. Your power wall will have an outsized positive impact on the grid over traditional demand response programs. Keep your energy security, export credits during peak periods, so that arbitrage for electricity where it's cheaper at night than what it is during the daytime. So this is pretty exciting. You can see here starting July 22nd, 2021, and they'll be releasing what the qualifications are to be part of this beta. But if I was in California, I would definitely be signing up for this. This sounds like it could be part of something very special. But again, I think Tesla Energy is potentially one of the biggest catalysts for Tesla stock. So seeing things like this is a very bullish sign as well, in my opinion. Lots of good news, I think, coming out for Tesla here. So last thing, and as promised, we are going to look at the trailer from Player Unknown Battlegrounds, or PUBG Mobile. This is arguably one of, if not the biggest game in the world. Okay, they have over 1 billion downloads and they average over 30 million users per day. Now, why is this a big deal? It's a big deal because Tesla has been featured within the game. Okay, they have interwoven Tesla Gigafactory, the Cybertruck, Model Y, the Roadster, all of it, even autonomous driving into the video game. This is amazing because, as we know, Tesla spends $0 on marketing. You have never seen a Tesla commercial on your TV or anything. It's because they believe in word of mouth and organic growth. This is free press by the highest of order of magnitude. Okay, this is such a big game. So many people play it. That's going to be such a great exposure for Tesla. Now, it's no surprise, really, Tencent, who I believe made the mobile game and helps market it, they actually bought 5% stake of Tesla back in 2017. So, it makes sense, a lot of synergies there. If, Tesla gets better sales and better press, and, that just helps the stake that Tencent has within Tesla. So, we're going to go ahead and show you that trailer, but before we leave you guys, please do us a favor. We are only a couple days away from our end target for our goal to hit 75 subscribers. So do us a favor, if you enjoy this type of content, if you like what you see, or even if you don't, that's fine. Please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys next time.
This is Roadster calling Cybertruck. Repeat, this is Roadster calling Cybertruck.
Copy that.
Earth is being invaded by an unknown force, the time machine. Our future is in danger. Go find the special task force. Here's the profile. I will pick up the team Superstar. See you then.
Finally, we meet, my friend. Seatbelt on. Let's rock and roll. I'll take you right to the bomb. Take it easy. Just a piece of cake. The dark is coming. Now's the time. It's now or never. Just go for it.